Hello, this is a very exciting day for us today. We're launching our Hip Hop Psych YouTube channel, so we're going to start by introducing ourselves, okay? I am Dr. Akeem Sule. I'm a psychiatrist, been working in the NHS since the year 2000. I'm also a Wolfson College Research Associate, and I'm also a senior clinical tutor with the Clinical School of Medicine in Cambridge.
Hello, I am Dr. Becky Inkster, another co-founder of Hip Hop Psych, and I did my undergraduate degree in psychology in Toronto. Then I moved across to the UK and became a neuroscientist focusing on genetics, neuroimaging, epigenetics, and now social media data. We're here to talk about all of our favorite topics with you, mostly hip hop.
So guys, this is going to be exciting. So people often ask us, okay, how did Hip Hop Psych get started? Well, my recollection of this was simple. I remember when I was with the medical students, as you probably might know or might not know, that psychiatry as a specialty is not something that medical students readily get into or choose as a specialty. But anyway, I was looking for innovative ways of teaching the medical students, and then I thought about using hip hop, and I began to use it, but it wasn't fairly reformed then. But that was until I met Becky. Remember Becky? We met at that KRS talk. That was really exciting, wasn't it?
Good.
And it was interesting because I finally met someone in the field of neuroscience and psychiatry that knew as much hip hop as me, and was also passionate about teaching and lecturing. And then our paths crossed again in 2012 in Cambridge University. We were actually at a talk, and I had been asked to give a talk to the Cambridge medical students, so actually the Cambridge Psychiatric Society. I saw Becky, and the rest is history. We both did the talk. It was a great success, lots of attention, and that's basically how Hip Hop Psych took off basically. And in terms of what it's led to, we've given talks in various settings. We've given talks to the general public, educating them about hip hop. We've given talks in a prison, in fact 2 prisons, one in Bedford and a youth offenders institute in Wales. We've done talks in nightclubs. We actually last year did a talk at the World Congress of Psychiatric Genetics in Toronto. So the movement is going global, a bit like hip hop. Now people often ask us about hip hop, why hip hop? What has hip hop got to tell us about mental health problems or to educate us about mental health problems? I think it's simple. Let's look at where hip hop began, okay? So the classic understanding is that hip hop started in the Bronx, but around the 70s. Now what was happening around that time? The ghetto was in the Bronx and throughout New York was a very horrible place. There was drugs, there was, the crack epidemic. So obviously you had all that poverty and stuff like that. There were gangs roaming New York. But what was interesting was through the pioneers of African Bambaataa and DJ Kool Herc, out of something so negative grew this art form. The elements came together. And you think about hip hop, you see where it started from and where it's now. What's happening now? A lot of money is being made off it. There's a lot of merchandise being sold. And this is on the back of hip-hop. So our argument is that with hip-hop, you see the vulnerabilities for mental health disorders, but also at the same time, you see about resilience. And Becky and I believe that by studying the lyrics, we can basically get a lot of understanding about mental health problems and probably a more accessible message as well. The other thing to bear in mind about hip-hop is how hip-hop, unlike other genres of music, basically stresses the importance of the artists writing their own lyrics. Of course, I'm sure you're aware of recent controversies of certain rappers having their lyrics ghostwritten by them. So
We'll stop there.
Absolutely. Don't get me too passionate. Okay. Yes.
Okay. So when you think about it, hip hop and psychiatry, they just don't go hand in hand. There's like an enormous gap. And when we first kind of set out to figure out what to do, we had no idea, like, where do you go with this? There's no structure. But then we quickly realized just how amazing that is, that there is no structure, and we could just take it wherever we want to go. We could engage with the people and learn where it takes us. So, we do have an agenda, we do have ideas, but we really just kind of take it where it goes. So, just to give you a bit of background, we published in the Lancet Psychiatry, and all of our papers are on our website. And it's called the Hip Hop State of Mind, and we think this is like our mission statement. So this is kind of like the take-home message about where we want to take things and what we've learned from people along the way, and how to develop things moving forward. So some of the things that we really want to focus on primarily is psychoeducation and public engagement, and working with the public to really learn what matters to them, and asking the right questions and listening and getting feedback from the public. So it's been very successful and really fruitful, using hip hop as the kind of the driver of this program, of this venture, because it just helps people open up. It's a safe space to express yourself. Hip hop culture is very inclusive and open-minded in terms of just be yourself and do what you want to do. So it's a really interesting way to talk about mental health. We like to think of it as a new conversation of mental health.
Definitely.
Where the drivers are the people experiencing it, and it's on their terms. They talk about it from the heart, not just from the science kind of thing. So yeah, that's our key thing. Primarily, we want to work with the public and start a new conversation about mental health using the power of hip hop. It's loud, it's bold, it's powerful. It's all about self-expression. Some of our other things that we want to do as well is that we're really keen to teach and look at sort of the medical and the academic angle of things. So we want to, as Akeem said, we want to introduce into this kind of formal teaching the hip-hop way, or the hip-hop approach. It's been very successful in other areas, such as like religion, and various things. Politics, humanities, exactly. So we want to actually just really drive this message home in medicine, academia, neuroscience, and it really gets the students engaged. It increases diversity of people who are paying attention and really interested and passionate to hear more about the subject. So it's been an unusual bridge where you wouldn't think psychiatry and hip-hop go hand in hand, but we've learned over the years that actually they're side by side, and there's a really strong, powerful message here that a lot of people have been saying long before we've stepped in and said it. We're just saying it in a way that from our background, from neuroscience, from psychiatry, just adding our 2 cents on something that's been going on for a long time. And just to add the third mission statement really is, we want to refine psychotherapies and look at ways to, advance research using hip-hop. So in one of the later videos, you'll see that I talk about freestyling using an MRI brain scanning study published in a super high-impact journal. So these worlds are close as well. So mission statement, we want to work with the public, we want to get the message out there, but we also want to hear back from people and start a new conversation. We want to bring teaching innovation to medicine and academia, and we do want to start advancing and putting hip-hop into neuroscience research and psychiatry research.
And just to add on to what Becky said, I find it difficult to shut up, but about the psychotherapies, in our first article in the Lancet Psychiatry called Hip Hop State of Mind, we basically speak about how hip-hop lyrics are very aspirational. And there's this thing called positive visual imaging, which we talk about, at how rappers basically talk in rich narratives and metaphors about a life they haven't yet lived. Our discussion in that paper is how, when rappers talk about this, they're building a positive visual imagery. So for example, they talk about the cars they haven't yet driven, or the models they haven't yet dated, and the life they want to live. And we believe absolutely
the shoes they want to buy,
the shoes they want to buy, the sneakers
Air
they want
Jordan.
to buy. And we believe that this is what they do to protect themselves in very, very difficult environments, right? With drugs, with poverty, and that's how they move forward. The other thing I wanted to say, Becky said she came from Canada. Just to say, my medical school was in Nigeria. Shout out to Nigeria. Okay, so just a few disclaimers, because Becky and I, we don't want to get sued. We know some of you haters be suing us. But anyway, in terms of things, we need to make it quite clear, really. We're a separate entity. Okay, yes, we've got affiliation to the Cambridge University. We need to make it quite clear. Hip Hop Psych is a separate entity, both to the Cambridge University and the NHS Trust that we work with. Okay, now that's out of the way. The other thing we need to stress is sometimes we have been accused by a few people of only promoting gangster rap. Now we need to make it clear that Becky and I, we are aware of our social responsibilities, but we need to make it clear that we like all genres of hip hop, and the lyrics we look at are all genres of hip hop. Now, we look at hip hop lyrics that we think give rich meaning to mental health problems. Now, we've got to be honest, if that means reference to drugs and alcohol, if that makes reference to pimp, if lyrics where the N-word is used, you understand, and obviously we know that word can be offensive, but we use such lyrics. The most important thing is getting the message across, because it's in those kind of themes and environments where you've got vulnerability for mental health problems.
And just related to that note, one of the reasons that we want to run this YouTube channel is because we want your feedback, we want your comments, and we want you to know that this is just our interpretation of the lyrics, and even our own interpretations change over time. You know, when I sit down and think about Kendrick's lyrics, one day it differs from the next, and then the month, and then the year after that. So these are really complex issues, and we appreciate and we really encourage people to come and, you know, approach us with their viewpoints, and we love getting the feedback. So we sometimes go really hardcore neuroscience, hardcore psychiatry.
Absolutely.
Sometimes there are diagnoses, you know, that should be challenged and are challenged, and you know, and it just creates a good discussion. So I guess as a disclaimer, we just want to say, you know, that this is just our interpretation. We're just speculating about what we think might be going on. And we're not in any way speculating about the artists themselves. We've got to make this clear time and time again. We're not saying that a particular artist has experienced it just because they've said it, okay? So, you know, we're talking about characters that the rappers are referencing. Everything is kind of hypothetical and up for grabs. If the artists themselves disclose stuff, you know, by all means we can discuss it, but that's one thing we just want to make sure is clear to people, that we're just speculating. This is just our view, and you know, we can come at this from a poetic angle, a humanitarian angle, and completely non-scientific angle. So you know, we look forward to seeing all kinds of views on that.
Yeah. And just one final thing to say is, if our videos cause offense, we apologize in advance. And just to let you know that Becky and I are coming at this as people who have worked either in terms of research or clinical work with people with mental health problems, and we're doing this from a pure heart. We want to work with people and we want to get this message across. Thank you.